Begin countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we are live. We're running a little bit late tonight, but that's not a big deal. This is the Escape Podcast, number 8, Adam.
What's going on there, Planet Houston?
So we are doing the countdown to the Batman. Or wait. The Batman. Is that better? I don't know. Is that more Batman-y?
A little Bailey, but that's okay. That's okay. Hey, I like Bales for the first two.
All right.
I just didn't like Bales in the last one.
Or I can just do. I can do my George Clooney, be like, I'm the Batman. I'm Batman.
Hey, Freeze. I'm Batman.
Hey, Freeze. Hey, you want to go rob a bank later? Oh, wait, that's a different movie.
He takes too much shit for that movie, though.
Well, it wasn't good. The problem was he wanted to be Batman so bad, and then you got that. So
yeah, I mean, he looks the part,
right? No, don't get me wrong. Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's a good-looking guy. At the time in Hollywood, there's no better good-looking guy than George Clooney.
No, exactly. And this was Batman and Robin, 1997. Starring Uma Thurman, Alicia Silverstone, not Arnold, Chris O'Donnell, and George Clooney. Who was the other guy? Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Arnold's Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
The guy who played Bane. He wasn't. I don't think he's in.
We're having a little technical difficulties. You cannot fight the screen. Okay.
I will fight you.
Bye.
I will fight you.
Bye.
Let's go, Kika, right now. You and me.
She's named after a Batman character. Mm-hmm. But what if they did a Dark Knight Returns movie and cast Clooney? That'd be awesome.
Now. See, here's the problem with Clooney. He was never an action guy. Like ever, he's just a suave dude.
True, although I gotta say, probably doesn't help his case, but he was awesome in Three Kings.
No, okay. So I take that back a little bit. Even though there's not a ton of action from Dusk to Dawn, he's pretty badass in that.
He is. That's how he got the role as Batman.
Yeah,
Dusk to Dawn.
Well, he's got one of the best badass, or not badass, but it's like.
What do you think I want, you mean old bastard?
What do you think I want?
Room.
I want you mean old bastard? I want a freaking room. Yeah.
But
then again,
for that.
Then again, playing opposite Quentin Tarantino, kind of like anytime you go opposite Quentin Tarantino, like your masculinity, you just look more masculine. So
sure, yes, I agree. Yep. But the movie poster for that was out. Joel Schumacher saw it and he went up to it and covered Clooney's eyes and was like, "That's my Batman.
That's my lost boy."
There is a Schumacher cut out there.
Dude, I was going to bring that up because I was trying to do some homework because I could not, for the life of me, find where Batman was on a streaming service. And I refused to pay for it. I was like, dude, it's got to be on there somewhere. It wasn't on HBO Max. It wasn't on Netflix or anything like that. I had to re-up my Hulu so that I could get halfway through it. And then I was actually watching it as we were just getting ready to go here. So
I was responsible. I watched it on Sunday.
Well, you own it probably, don't you, or no?
Yeah, in a couple different ways.
Yeah, exactly. I don't own I haven't owned it since it was on VHS, so
I own it on that too.
So-
Batman Forever. We're talking about. Let's tell them what this show's all about.
Yeah. Okay. So give me 1 second. Let's pull up the Batman Forever graphic there. Okay. Now people know what we're talking about. So
I wish I could see it. No, I don't. Don't mess with anything.
we're doing okay. It's okay. We haven't dropped any
Yeah.
frames yet.
That's right.
So, but before we get too far, let's do this. So, so if you guys do like what we're doing here, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. That's how pretty much the platform works. The more subscriptions and likes you get, the more they play your stuff. So we are just a tiny little channel, and we are trying to grow like everybody else.
Yes.
So, and also we're trying to get somewhat monetized so that Adam can quit his job and do this full time. So
Well, I'm gonna have to start.
hashtag do it for Adam.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to start paying for college tuition. My oldest rocket, my oldest cat, he's getting ready to move on. You know.
Oh, I'd say my cat's Kitty Sparkles. He's in the middle of high school, probably.
Yeah.
So he's like 15. So, but we are also on the social media platforms of Facebook and Instagram. So give us a like and a subscribe there. So, or at least a like.
Please do.
Yeah. So we are at Facebook. We are the Escape Podcast. On Instagram, we are the _Escape _podcast. Instagram. So we try and drop just pictures of things that we're doing, interesting news, anything else I think is funny. We'll put that there. So yeah, let's get into it. So with the Batman coming out in mere days, it's already out in the UK, but we're in the US, so that doesn't count. We are just days away from the Batman dropping, so we decided to reach into the vault and pull out Batman Forever.
Hey, let's talk about how this happened.
Okay.
So I'm all watching this other. So I was all, and then you were all,
And
we
I was
were
like,
all,
and
so-
you were like, what? I was like, what?
All right, so I was watching another YouTuber, and they did the same thing, kind of a thing. They picked a Batman movie and just talked about it, kind of to hype themselves up. So I was like, hey, you know what? That's a pretty good idea. You know, there are no original ideas, blah blah blah.
It's true.
So
Just ask
so
Hollywood.
and really I wanted to do it because it sounded like fun. So I quit watching that guy's show and didn't watch it. And and I brought it up to you. And Nick says to me, well, can we slow down here? We'll talk about it. Because there's a couple of them out there. I said, Nick, we can watch Batman Forever if you want. Well, I think Val Kilmer's an underrated Batman. I said, he's a good Batman. We could do it. No problem. We'll do it. So that's how this came about. We're doing Batman Forever.
So, and let's do it. Let's get into it.
Cut it out.
I have always thought So I have always thought, look, I love Michael Keaton, but I never thought he had the right look for Bruce Wayne. And I thought Val Kilmer totally had that Bruce Wayne look, the whole suave thing. Are you still with it? Kick us with us
I'm
too?
listening. Go ahead. I'm listening. She's just causing trouble.
Right. So I always thought, like I said, I like Michael Keaton. I loved the first two Batman movies, but I always thought the weakest part of those, because Bruce Wayne is supposed to be charming, good looking, all the things, I always thought he was like JFK Jr. Like that's kind of what I always envisioned him to be, just a ladies' man and just ran the town, whatever he wanted to do.
And that is his mask.
Right.
That's his mask. Yeah.
And I just
Right.
never got Michael Keaton's that guy.
you know what facet of Bruce, I agree with you, but there is something that does add to his Bruce Wayne that a lot of the other ones didn't have, with the exception of Christian Bale, but they wrote that into the script on purpose. he played an excellent Bruce Wayne with Alfred. He
Yeah.
just didn't play the Bruce Wayne, the public eye Bruce Wayne.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and it's as I was saying, because I was watching a couple YouTubers, and I just brought it up, and that's one of the things where, yeah, Michael Keaton was never really given that much of a chance to be Bruce Wayne, and I think that's one of the things that they really give Val Kilmer a chance to do in this movie, and not only Bruce Wayne but also Alfred. I forget the actor's name. Michael Gough, Goughh.
Gough, yeah.
So I just I forgot how good of a Alfred he was watching that, and then watching the scenes with his one-on-ones with Chris O'Donnell, and I was like, wow, I was like, he's really good. Really good. Really good Alfred.
He's a good Alfred. He really is.
But even the joke at the even before we started, it's the first one-liner from Go. It's can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you? And the whole back and forth is like, no, I'll get drive-through. It's like just that whole back and forth sets up. It's definitely a tone or two up from the overall Burton vision of things. You just get there's comedy here. So,
well, if you don't like woke culture, allow me to ruin this for you.
Okay.
So Batman Returns comes out, and there's toys at McDonald's, and parents flip out because this is not exactly a children's movie. So parents are like, what the fuck? And they don't want their kids.
I say, if you watch it today, you go, what the?
I love it, but
no, it's great.
Babies,
but we're also
throwing babies in the water.
Yeah, but we're also slightly twisted. So
yeah, they're throwing babies in the water and all this kind of stuff, and then they get this the penguin's grabbing boobies in it, and one of the lines the penguin has in that it says something about he says there's my pussy or something like that.
You're right.
When he's talking to Catwoman. Well, anyways, so McDonald's freaked out because parents were freaking out. Like, why would you have McDonald's toys? So that whole "I'll get drive-through" ad line was it wrote and put into the movie on purpose so they could use it in commercials.
And I remember going, I think it was either we had McDonald's before or after, because I think I made my dad go, and we got the Batman meal that came with the little mug and everything. Though the sandwich was weird. I forget. I think it was like 2 or 3 patties like leaned into each other. It was weird, but yeah.
Now you just got me thinking of how many different McDonald's sandwiches I can remember. All right. So here we are, Batman Forever. I'll get drive-through, and before we see that, we see a crazy little like getting dressed montage, which we see in the next movie too.
And also, can we mention how good the score is for this movie? Because I remember you bought it as when we were teenagers, and I thought all those things for like when they were getting dressed were like sound effects, and they weren't. They were actually they're instruments.
Part of the score.
Yeah, it's part of the score, and just the way the editing lines up for the way the montage lines up, and I go, holy moly! Like that's really good. you know.
I like the score, but I like Danny Elfman's better.
Yes,
I'm gonna say that.
Sure,
yeah, for sure.
Well, I think it's the first. Because did you have all the scores as a kid, or did? Because I remember I specifically you having that one. Remember you having that.
Yeah, that score was on the Batman and Robin soundtrack.
Right.
Because if you bought the soundtrack for Batman Forever, it was just a bunch of stupid songs like Seal.
It was Kiss from a Rose.
Yeah, and You Too, Love Me, Kill Me, Kiss Me, Free Me, or something like that.
Oh.
But for the first movie, there was an entire Prince album. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there was the Danny Elfman motion picture score.
Right.
I didn't have the Prince album, but I listened to Bat Dance regularly.
Well, and it's funny because
today,
as I was watching the movie, kind of had it go in the background while I was doing stuff. I was like, the actual soundtrack's pretty good because it has the Violent Femmes in it, right?
To this movie, to
Batman
Batman
Forever.
Forever. It's really good.
It's
Actually,
really, I'd say it's got the Violent Femmes, it's got the Offspring.
Flaming Lips.
Flaming Lips was the one. That's what, yeah, not
Yep.
Violent Femmes. Flaming Lips. That's right.
Yep.
And that was because that's the one where the song where he's in his weird, odd shaped
Yeah.
apartment.
You hate your
Yeah.
boss at your job.
Yes, I remember listening to that one over and over as I was going to make pizzas.
Yes, that was definitely. I call that the pizza song.
Right. So, but anyway,
yeah.
so the first, so they really set the tone like for the opening scene with Alfred and Bruce. It's definitely a lighter tone than the Tim Burton movies. Also, right off the bat, you see the bat nipples. To this day, it's one of those things where it's a why did you do that?
Yeah,
Completely unnecessary. But anyway, once you get past that,
and hold on a second though. You see the nipples on the bat suit, but you see nipples on one of the best bat suits we had ever seen, or ever will see. That thing is fucking sweet.
no, it's still a take off the Michael Keaton one. You know, where they just change up a little, like even the yellow is like a little bit darker, the belt's darker. No, it's an awesome suit. You know, it really is. It's just one of those like, okay, it's like a 9.5. If it didn't have the damn nipples, it'd be a 10. So, but anyway,
I agree.
so we have our first to get into the first real action scene, where we have Tommy Lee Jones, of all people, and I don't know if there was some type of bet on the line who can be more over the top between him and Jim Carrey, because you never see Tommy Lee Jones like this ever. I've never seen Tommy Lee Jones this over the top or this exaggerated in a role ever. And I love Tommy Lee Jones, but it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah, and then
Would they give him coke, or I don't know.
When he and Jim Carrey met, Jim Carrey was talking to him. What was trying to talk to him, and he came up to him and he got in his ear and says, "Listen, I don't like you. I think everything you do is garbage. Don't talk to me, and only talk to me when we have to act together." Something like that. I'm paraphrasing what Jim Carrey said, and that was it.
Yeah. But so you have the opening scene where there's a bank heist, and you get introduced to Tommy Lee Jones, and it's one of the more controversial makeup jobs because the one side, I mean, it could not be more different from the Christopher Nolan, where it's literally just scar tissue. This one, it's purple blob.
Looks like it's out of the comics. I liked it at the time.
Yeah. I know it's one of those things that it's you either, like Adam, you're either okay with it or you hate it. I'm okay with it, because especially with the whole aesthetic of the whole thing, where they play on the duality of the characters so much. I almost forgot about Drew Barrymore and what's her name?
Debbie Mazar,
Debbie
Sugar
Mazar.
and Spice.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's right. I remember you.
Yeah. I love Debbie Mazar. From as soon as I saw her in that movie, I was like, oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But the opening fight.
Remember
scene,
that, goth girls?
Yes. That was,
I love you.
That was the introduction to be like, oh wait, hello, you're different. But so the opening fight scene, and one of the things that I really notice is you get a much more polished Batman, because in the Tim Burton Batmans, he's more of a brawler. Obviously he can fight, but there seems to be there's no system to it. But they really introduce the martial arts elements. You can really tell oh, this is a fighting style. He knows he's been trained, and you really see it when he starts taking on Two-Face's goons. So,
and we'll get into it a little bit further down the road. When you say more polished Batman, he's learned things along the way.
Yeah,
and that's why Val Kilmer does crush it in this movie. He crushes it. He does.
Well, that's the thing, because he's not and that's one of the things I know what they had to do for Nolan's Batman and Bruce Wayne, where they kind of played him off as kind of aloof and kind of a dummy, where in this he's not at all. He's very smart. He's very, he's the head of a CEO. You know, he's the
Yeah.
CEO of Wayne Enterprises, and there's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. He shows up, he's the boss. Everybody knows he's the man, and
Chair.
and which is one of the reasons leading into his interaction with Edward Nygma, where he's like, you know, it's essential hero worship for Jim Carrey's character, where
Mhm.
you know even I think it's pretty interesting because I think it's one of the first times where they like almost acknowledge like, oh, this is like a behavior, like this is like hero worship. This is where um because in the 90s I think that was kind of one of the first times that we started seeing things where like you had stalkers. That was kind of the first time I remember hearing about stalkers.
Well, there had been so many tragedies because of stalkers. People started doing something about it.
Right.
Like that, there was a sitcom. I don't remember the young lady's name, but the show was called My Sister Sam, and she had a stalker. And the guy showed up to her door, and he shot and killed her. And then you had the situation from Poltergeist. Um, Shame on me, I should know this woman's name too. But she was just a young girl, 23 years old. She had an abusive boyfriend. He got out of jail and he murdered her.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
it was
so
it was
when
it
you
was
got to 1995, you'd had The Bodyguard, which was a whole movie about stalkers.
right.
You know, and there were some cases like I think Whitney Houston had a stalker. Speaking of The Bodyguard, that like broke into her home, did some sexual things while she wasn't in the room on her bed or something,
Right.
and then left. Uh, so you know, it was bad back then.
Well, it was scary, and I think it was new, and you realize like, oh, it's like a mental condition where I think it kind of, not to say like, oh, it really brought attention to, but it kind of introduced like, oh, these people aren't like just crazy, but this is almost like a delve into how this is how people think.
Yeah,
They think
couldn't.
there's a you know there's people that think since they see them on TV every day, or they go to the cinema and they see them on the TV screen, that they know them, you know,
Right.
and so and then you meet them in real life and be like, I know you, and Bruce Wayne's like, who the f are you, like, you know.
Right.
So you know, that's where you get the line. He's like, you were supposed to understand, like, not only
I'll
had they
make
never,
you understand.
yeah, not only had they not even met, like he was just like, he had thought they had had this entire relationship built up in his head. So I thought that was interesting, you know, because I was like, that first time I'm like, oh, he's like, because in other movies, oh, the guys are, you know, criminally insane. I was like, oh no, this guy is crazy, you know,
Yeah,
like
he's
this
crazy
this
from the
guy
get-go.
is not living in reality.
Yeah, they that reminds me of the King of Comedy too. But I don't know if you've
Oh
seen
yeah, yeah,
Joker, but Joker's takes a lot from King of Comedy.
yeah, it does, absolutely.
Yep. So yeah, he's a nutcase in this movie, a real one.
Well, that's why I
And
say it's very like almost grounded, and be like, oh, like you can tell like Joel Schumacher had you know experience, especially with you know being in Hollywood, had experience with stalkers and this type of mentality. So
yeah, and but there was a lot of neon in this movie, and there was a lot of over the top stuff. We
but
skipped over
but
though. We skipped over like Batman's entrance too, when you first meet Trace Meridian, where he comes
oh yeah,
swinging in. That's the first time we got that.
no, and that was part of the thing too. So this is really the first Batman that introduced CGI into into main elements of the movie. And watching it on a 4K TV, you can go, "Oh, that's not right."
Right.
but
Uh
it's definitely the first time. But also, I mean, you say over the top. You're like, well, Tim Burton's Gotham was so dark. You know, if you add any color to it, but I agree, it's almost, uh, you know, almost two sides of a coin, if you will.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Nailed it.
I agree. Yeah, you nailed that one. Okay, so I've got to talk about some things that I really liked about, like, at least one thing, because this movie's got it right in a lot of ways, even though like in the end no, but like when Batman's swinging from that helicopter following Two-Face, right? and he busts through the glass, and he says, "You need help, Harvey."
Right.
You know, like that's like that. He didn't say Two-Face. I got you. You're going back to the old clink.
Yeah, he's
You know
not
what I
calling him
mean?
Two-Face. He's like, dude, you're my friend still.
Yeah, you need help, Harvey. You know, that was. I noticed that right when I saw it in the movie. You know, because that was like the pinnacle of me reading Batman comics.
Right.
So.
Well, even still going back to earlier in the fight scene where the guy, the guy's coming at him with I forget what he's coming at him with, and he just sidesteps him, and instead of letting him fall down the elevator shaft, grabs him, still electrocutes him because he throws him to the other electrocuted guy, but he saves him, still punishes him. But even in that fight scene, you see it's a different, like I said, it's a different style. Like, he's fighting differently. His gadgets are different. His gadgets are upgraded. He's just a more polished Batman.
And they talk about him having fought Two-Face already.
Yeah.
The second Bank of Gotham on the second anniversary of the day I captured him.
Well, and it's so nice to be like, oh, we fought before, and I didn't just kill you. Even though, But.
God, I know. Yeah, well, at least we got to keep the Riddler by the end of that movie. I was like, they didn't kill the Riddler. All right.
So we do meet the quote unquote love interest, Chase Meridian, played by the very beautiful Nicole Kidman at the time. Not at the time, but and then so she plays she's a psychologist or criminal psychologist.
Yeah.
So she's trying to psychoanalyze everybody. So
it gets a little like annoying. As a kid, I was like learning stuff. I was like, yeah.
Right, yeah.
But then I'm listening to this, I'm like, lady.
Okay. I've got an intruder.
Intruder alert. Intruder alert. For those of you who don't know. Hi, Cypress. For those of you who don't know, when the Batcave gets broken into this movie, it says intruder alert, intruder alert.
So don't worry, he'll be back.
Yeah, Kit is pissed. She's just in her like little carrier now.
So we meet Nicole Kidman's character, and then we still have our carryover from Tim Burton. We still have Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon. And I'd say Odo's in this movie. Plays Dr. Burton. Odo from Deep Space Nine. Jon Favreau's in this movie?
Oh, wait. Yeah, he is in this movie. Who's he play?
Dr. Burton.
Oh, yeah, at the end of the movie. When they're committing the Riddler to Arkham Asylum. Right. We get Arkham Asylum for the first time in the movies, too.
Nice. So, but, all right, so we have our two villains. So we have our Two-Face, we have our Riddler, and we get to see, so Two-Face is already established, Riddler is becoming the Riddler. And you get to see that process, kind of like the early versions of Photoshop of him going through that. That's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But he has this device that he tries to sell to Bruce Wayne and to Wayne Enterprises. Do you remember what's the name of it? I forget already.
It's called the Enigma box.
Yes.
And it's and see, if you could get it for a decent price, you'd be an idiot not to sell it on eBay because it's got a huge jar of diamonds in it.
Right. So what the device does, it's supposed to literally beam TV or whatever entertainment you want to watch. It beams it right into your brain.
Manipulating brain waves.
So, but at the same time, you can beam stuff in, but you can also take things out.
Extract, yeah.
So, Bruce Wayne obviously says, no, you're crazy. That's a terrible idea. That's incredibly dangerous.
Too many questions.
Yeah, that's incredibly dangerous. We're not going to do that. So that's the turning point for Mr. Enigma, and he ultimately turns into the Riddler.
Well,
But
let's address the plot here.
right,
I
but
mean,
I would say, but that's also the box doesn't only just do one thing; it also does what, Adam?
it extracts. We said that.
It detracts, but also it doubles the Riddler's brain
Oh
power.
yeah. It makes him smarter.
So it makes him
Now
smarter.
mine pumps with the power of yours.
Yes. So he ultimately later on he gets almost the entire city these boxes. So he's at this point super smart, but that's later.
That's later. Yes. So we take the first Batman movie. Jack Napier gets dropped into acid, and he becomes the Joker. And he basically just wants to poison the city, kill Batman, and then you got like murder and gas and poison, and then in the Batman Returns, the Penguin pretty much wants to blow the place up, kill all the kids, and all this kind of stuff, which is very dark. Neither one of those movies is mind control.
No.
Where do you stand on that?
Obviously terrifying, because especially when, I mean, they even say it in the movie where, like, that's what everybody said TV was supposed to be. It's the idiot box, but everybody had them. Everybody eventually ended up getting one. So,
Right.
And I mean, you could justify it's controlling people's brains today, but anyway, well, that's a different discussion.
Let it control your brains. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, it's like and subscribe. So go to YouTube. But yeah, playing with mind control, that's terrifying, especially mind control, and it's literally sucking out your basically your intelligence. So
Yeah. Oh shit! You know who his boss was? The guy from Transylvania 65000. You ever see that movie?
Yes, we're friends. Yes, I've seen that movie.
We're friends. You're friends with the guy?
Oh, with you idiot.
I was like, you're friends with Ed Begley? How come I didn't know this?
Yes.
Hey man, you can't fault me for that though. After what you pulled with Wayne Fonts.
Hey, people don't even know who that man is.
Yeah,
not anymore.
My dad knows the Lions.
The Lions head coach.
Head coach Wayne Fonts. Oh yeah, yeah. One time he got the Lions to come to my birthday. Well, that's pretty cool.
In Alfred, we went there. We went to the Silverdome. But
as monotone and as like feelingless as you could say. So then we decide that we're going to skip this important test at school. His dad calls my house while we're watching Madonna videos because she's hot and we're teenagers on MTV.
And
he says, you guys want to
you
go?
love to use some Madonna.
I do.
I say you probably still do.
Oh yeah. And his dad says, you want to go watch the Lions practice? And we're like, nah. I was like, well, wait a minute. We don't really get to do that all the time. Yeah, what are we thinking? So we call him back. Yeah, let's go. And we go and we bypass everything at the Silverdome, and these security guards go for us. He's like, just call just call Wayne's secretary. Tell him Joe Mott's here. Come on this way. We walk out on the tunnel. I am starstruck. I carried Barry Sanders pads, but then Wayne Fonts shows up. See, you could have said Uncle Wayne.
Uncle Wayno.
Talk about burying the fucking lead, dude. And I had known you for over a year and a half at that point. So, yeah. That's it. Side story. So, no, you can't fault me for thinking you knew Ed Begley.
And Adam got to meet Barry Sanders. So,
yeah, I carried Barry Sanders pads, Pepper Johnson, Herman Moore. I got their autographs too.
Yeah. Good day.
It's a good day.
So, anyway, and it might have been around the time this movie came out. So,
it was after. It was 1996.
Okay.
Movie came out in 95.
So anyway, where are we at? So okay, so the Riddler, now fully the Riddler, finds his way to Two-Face's lair.
This is great.
Where we have Debbie Mazur and Drew Barrymore.
Yes, we do. Sugar
Whew.
and Spice.
Sugar and Spice, they're doing a whole thing of trying to, show affection for Two-Face. They're giving it like his favorite meal. So Riddler shows up. He's like, "Hey," doing Jim Carrey things,
Yeah, he's like,
all over the
I love what
place.
you've done with the place. It's so you.
Yeah,
And
so
you.
yeah, and that's one of the things too, especially Riddler that really plays on both parts of Harvey Dent and Two-Face. So everything is multiplied by two. So, and I love the part where he's like, "Oh, okay." Pulls out the gigantic gun and he's like, "So, you want to die or what are we doing here?"
No, he points it. Basically, he says something to the effect of like, you've broken the sanctity of our lair. You found out where we lived. For this alone, we should kill you.
Right.
But he offers him this deal. Like, we can find out who Batman is. I'll help you find out who Batman is if you help me raise money for my box. And he says, you do make an interesting offer. He says, so therefore we flip for it. Heads, we go through with it. Tails, I blow your damn head off. Or something like that. We blow your brains out right here. And so then the next thing you see is a montage of them like stealing diamonds and cash and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It really is. You get to see just the ridiculousness. I like the one scene where he's like, "Hey, Two-Face, teach me how to punch a guy."
Oh yeah, ball up the fist. Which way back?
Bam. And then obviously Jim Carrey breaks his hand or whatever. He's like, "Ow, ow,
ow." So we get through all that, but through all the silliness, Val Kilmer plays it straight the whole time.
Yeah.
He actually kind of reminds me of Adam West in the fact that Adam West does play it straight through the whole thing, except for when in season 2, when he's got to sing Buttercup to Robin, my little Buttercup. That gets weird. But he plays it straight the whole time. Like when you meet Chris O'Donnell, he's like, and Chris O'Donnell finds the Batcave and stuff. And he's like, I want you to help me find Two-Face. And then when we find him, I'm the one who kills him. He says, so you're ready to take a life. And he says something else. And he says, well, this is how it will go. He says, you'll find Two-Face. And then you kill him. He says, only your pain doesn't end with Two-Face. It grows. Or I think he says Harvey. And so you run out into the night to find another face, and then another, till one day you wake up and find out that revenge has become your life.
Yeah. So we did gloss over that a little bit. So we do get to see the Grayson family and the tragedy that creates Dick Grayson / the Robin.
Yes. One of the weirdest circuses I'd ever.
Right.
Or coolest, I don't know.
Yeah, weird, cool, whatever. But actually, and I really like how the Graysons are played. They're not just tragic figures. They were heroes that were trying to help save, because Two-Face basically makes a bomb, 200 sticks of TNT, in this big sphere, and so the Graysons actually start racing up the big top tent to try and get the bomb out, and Dick Grayson actually ends up throwing it over the top into the river, but just in time to see his family has fallen, because Two-Face shot all the wires and everything,
shooting in the air.
Yeah, starts shooting into the air and ends up destroying all the rigging that's holding up basically the Grayson. So the whole family ends up falling to his death, and then just as Dick Grayson is throwing the ball into the river, he, like I said, he looks down and realizes that his whole family's dead. So,
yeah, very sad.
And then they have Commissioner Gordon, because obviously Bruce Wayne says, "Hey, I'll take the kid," because he's got no one left. So they just have the scene where Commissioner Gordon is, leaves him at Bruce Wayne's manor, and they have a little bit of the. I love the line where Bruce is like, "Hey, nice bike." He's like, "Spent a lot of time at biker bars, Bruce." And then
Yeah, I
he's
know.
like, "Well, why don't we get some gas?" So he goes into his garage and he's like, "What is this? A freaking museum?" And then he sees all the bikes and all the cars, and he's like, "Oh,
Is this a garage or a car museum, Bruce?
yeah." Um, and then you get to see the little bit of interaction with him and Alfred, and then you get one of the lamest laundry scenes in the history of anything that's ever been.
I don't know. That's how I do my laundry.
put some metal on and be like,
Yeah.
uh,
I'm not used to being waited on.
yeah. I'm not sure what the whole point of that was, but it was not badass as people think it is.
No, it
Because
wasn't. Well,
that's one of those that could have been left on the cutting room floor.
the only people who thought that was badass was Joel Schumacher and producers.
And maybe Chris O'Donnell for a second until he saw it. He's like, shouldn't have done that. Should not.
But
have
he's
done
been a
that.
champ about that. No matter how much shit he's ever got for playing Robin, he was like, I loved it. I had a great time. Something like he brought his nieces and nephews to the set and
Right.
all that stuff. It
But-
was a very meaningful time in his life.
But also, one of the things about Chris O'Donnell in the Batman movies is how big his codpiece is. So that has been commented on by both Batman actually.
Well, yeah, that's true too. And he's got a big cod piece. And he's supposed to be playing like a boy, a teenage boy, and he's what, 49 in the movie? I mean, if you plucked right out of the fantasy.
Yeah, he's a man. He's a man in the movie.
He's like, what do you need him to take him for?
He's yeah. I mean, see how he does laundry? He's clearly a man.
Duh. Yeah.
That was the giveaway right there.
Right there. He's doing his own laundry.
So before we get into the next scene, we have a dramatic change in the Batmobile, Adam.
I love this Batmobile. I just hate when the neon lights up. If you pull the neon out of it, it'd be beautiful. It is beautiful.
I remember liking it a lot more young, and it's not say it has not grown on me. It's kind of be like you said, if it weren't so neon, like there's accents, but then there's like, yeah, that's just all like neon. I can see that at any Walmart parking lot on a Saturday night.
I mean, if I was gonna redesign it, I wouldn't have it like ribbed. I'd
Yeah.
just leave that all one singular piece, and maybe I don't know, maybe put some like racing stripes on it or some shit like that.
Racing stripes.
I don't know,
Something, but
Bat
anyway.
symbols.
Hey, weird. So anyway, somehow Master Dick has stolen the Batmobile and he's steal the Batmobile and the suit and goes and
He doesn't steal the suit.
No,
He
not
gets
the
out
suit.
of gets out of the car. I'm Batman. Hey,
Yeah.
I forgot my shooter, right?
right, yeah. He's like, "Hey, what's up, ladies?" It's like, "Oh, good."
And Salt and Pepper opens the door.
Oh,
Or
it was
there when
Salt
he
and
opens the
Pepper,
door.
wasn't it?
It was Salt and, yeah. That's not Batman. That's Batboy. But it was
So-
Salt and Pepper.
It was Salt and Pepper.
Well, I think it
Salt
was
and Pepper's
Salt. I don't
here.
think it was Pepper. I think it was Spinderella and Pepper.
Oh,
Or no, was it En Vogue?
might have been
Now
in
we gotta
both.
look. Now we gotta look it up. I think that was En Vogue.
Now let's see here. Girl on corner 1, girl on corner 2. Yeah, it's En Vogue.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know why I said Salt and Pepper.
Yes, they are girl on corner 1, girl on corner 2, girl on corner 3, and girl on corner 4. Thanks, guys.
En Vogue, man.
But
That is not En Vogue. That's Hanson.
yeah, I mixed the two at the end. Sorry, my bad. I was trying to remember. I was like, It goes, and I was like, I threw the bop in there. I was like, yeah, that's not right.
En Vogue. Bop.
Mm, bop, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
Was in vogue. I'm giving him something he can feel.
So I was pulling up the IMDb. Yeah, so this is reinforcing what you were saying earlier. According to Jim Carrey, he did not get along with Tommy Jones. He told him that he hated him and his films.
Yes.
Val Kilmer and Jim Carrey became good friends during filming. They bonded over the deaths of their fathers.
Yeah, that's right. When Val Kilmer got the news that he was in the going to be Batman, he got the news the same day that his father had died. And while he was in a cave full of bats, he got the news that he was going to be the Batman.
So let's get into a little bit of. So Michael Keaton did meet with Joel Schumacher and declined to join the project after deciding that he did not like the direction in which Schumacher was going to take the film. In the brief time that Tim Burton was still considering doing a third Batman film, Riddler was the only villain that he planned on using. The idea of using Two-Face did not come up until Schumacher joined the project.
And it was going to be Robin Williams.
Yes. Yep. And also, the Batmobile was usually driven by stunt drivers, but Chris O'Donnell insisted on driving it himself in the joyride scene. He crashed it into a curb and dented a fender. Thanks, jackass.
What a freaking moron.
And Leo DiCaprio, of course, was he turned down the role of Dick Grayson because he also did not like Joel Schumacher's direction.
Right. He was like, I want a career.
I think it turned out for him.
Yeah, I think it turned out just fine. He did that old that picture about the boat.
Yeah, that boat that sank. No one knows about it. That's fine.
It's actually pretty cool we're doing this podcast because that's how much we like movies. We're like, we got to see this, right? Everybody's talking about it, right? Only two dudes that show up together to see fucking Titanic.
Hey, that's nothing like the one summer we said we were going to go see every single movie that came out that summer, including Spice World.
Including Spice World, but we did it.
We did it, damn it.
Somehow that's the only one I remember.
Yeah, because that was the time we were coming out of the movie or getting ready to go into the movie, and we saw a girl that I liked. And yep, two dudes going to see Spice World. Awesome.
What was that about?
Spice World? I don't care. I'm not going to get into it. We're not going to do a podcast about that movie.
I didn't want to.
Sorry.
I kind of wanted to know.
Val Kilmer and Joel Schumacher clashed during filming. Schumacher described Kilmer as childish and impossible, which he's not the only director to say that. As much as Val Kilmer was like, the stud in the late 80s into the 90s, yeah, he was known as a prick and a pain in the ass to work with.
Wow.
I think that's covered because there's a new documentary. Not due. I think it's a couple years old now, but I think it's called Val, and it's all about Val Kilmer, and because he battled, I think, was it throat cancer, and it was not looking good there for a while. I think he's doing a little bit better now, but yeah, he's definitely not what he was.
Poor fella.
Like I said, this film marks the first appearance of Arkham Asylum in a live-action Batman film. Dick Grayson suggests Nightwing for a hero name.
And Batman and Robin. Yeah. While he was wearing a Nightwing costume.
While learning to twirl a cane, Jim Carrey reportedly broke around a dozen prop canes and some of his trailer furniture.
How fragile were those canes?
I mean, they're probably not.
I imagine they had to be pretty light.
Yeah, they're pretty light. I mean, Jim Carrey's not a big guy, so. Yeah. But especially just seeing him, some of the stuff he did is easy enough to break. But all right, Adam, where do we leave off? So we got Dick Grayson now, and forgive me, how does he get into
be officially Robin?
Yeah, officially Robin.
So he's like, I'm part of this Bruce and all this kind of stuff. And so he starts, so when that particular night where uh, they read his mind and they see a bat in his brain and all that kind of stuff. That night where
Oh,
Enigma's
that's right.
having his
Because
thing.
yeah, because that was the big shindig where yeah, because he ran back into Edward Nigma and Bruce Wayne does, and he
Yeah.
actually
So
gets into the machine, and then Two Face comes in and starts blasting the machine while he's in there, and they get just a fraction of Bruce Wayne's
and it was,
identity.
I think it was Spice or Sugar. I'm sorry, Sugar. Uh,
Either it's fine. Don't
I
let
think
him.
they both had something to do with it, but I want to say it was Drew Barrymore's Sugar that started recording while he was in there. But so he runs out to the car. He's like, "Emergency, Alfred!" And he gets this suitcase and he puts his bat suit on. He crashes through the door, glass. He looks really cool. One of the coolest things ever. I mean, the movie. Say what you want about the movie, but it does have some awesome fight scenes. You're right about that. It does have an awesome bat suit. And then Robin comes out, or Grayson comes out. Emergency, Alfred, and he gets this little cloth leotard that he wore, which was cool because it means he
That
started
well,
out
that
like the original Boy
I say
Wonder.
that's a harken back to the original costume. So
And then he saves Batman from something because they almost kill him at the end. And then they get back to the Batcave. He's like, "You could have been hurt, this and that." And this, he goes, "I'm part of this, Bruce. I'm your partner." He's like, "No, you're not. I could stop you," and all this kind of stuff. And he says, "Here, Alfred," and he hands him his Robin costume all folded up. He's like, "Put this next to the bat suit." And long story short, he's in love with Chase Meridian, and they read the thoughts that were on the, the card, or I got to call it a flash drive, but it was really just like a bottle of green elixir. Um, and they notice that he's Batman, so they break into his house, they beat the shit out of everybody, and then uh, what's his name? Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne have a heart to heart, and then he's in a nice big rubber costume.
yeah, one of my favorite scenes is the one fight scene where he actually I forget what he's doing, but they white the eyes like in the comics. I go, oh yeah.
Where in that movie?
I think so.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. He says at the very end because he
Yep.
has a sonar.
Yeah.
He's like, "I see without seeing."
Yeah.
Something, something, something.
Yep.
That's easy. You're as blind as a bat.
But just seeing that suit with the whited
Yeah,
eyes like in the comics, I was like, oh yeah, that's the
yeah.
stuff. And then they had some cool little toys where what the cape is flame retardant or is it bulletproof? It was both,
Well, it's both, but they
but
didn't
like
really
did
show
it
the
like solidify
bulletproof.
or whatever?
Yeah, when there was a huge explosion and they thought they burned him to death. That was, and I was just like, I was watching it on Sunday. I was like, "Damn, that looks good." Like he ducks down in the cape, it gets all liquefied or whatever, and protects him from burning. And Two Face is all celebrating that he's killed him, and here comes Batman out of the fire. And it's like,
Well, that's the thing I would say for all the you know the stuff that people focus on, the neon, the nipples and everything. I was like, there are some badass scenes in the movie. Like you said, from the intro, from Batman, swinging into the scene
Mhm.
to the fight scenes. I think it's incredibly underrated.
I agree. It's only shit on because Batman and Robin was so bad.
Yeah, I think it's a continuation of that, and just I mean, I'm not the biggest Tim Burton guy. I really like some of his movies. I don't think he he's not going to go in like my top 5 directors. There's just I know a lot of people love him. It's not a love or hate thing, but if you are a big, huge Tim Burton fan, like you love Tim Burton, I'm not one of those. I really like the Batman movies. I like Edward Scissorhands. I like Sweeney Todd. Those darker, twisted movies. I like those. Uh, but it's just that's as far as it goes with me.
I thought
Um,
Big Fish was good.
Oh yeah, Big Fit. I love that's a great movie. That's
Yeah,
a fantastic movie.
great.
Um, so that being said, I think it's kind of when you follow almost the cultish figure like a Tim Burton, and then you get just like yay, very
But yeah,
very
I'm not
cartoony
that
and over the top.
like I'm not sitting there watching Corpse Bride and James and the Giant Peach, and I'm not gonna watch A
Nightmare
Nightmare
Before Christmas.
Before Christmas. I really they're not my thing. Although there's an interesting story with me in A Nightmare Before Christmas, anyways, but that's a
Anyway,
story for another day. Uh, but let me see. I like you said, I like Sweeney Todd. Only saw it in the theater, but I liked it. I didn't. I wasn't crazy about Sleepy Hollow.
it was okay. That was one I saw in the theater. I was like, that was fun.
I think I saw that with you.
Maybe.
You, and a couple high school girls saw it together when we were in high school.
Maybe.
Yeah, pretty sure. Um. So yeah, I love the '89 Batman movie. I think it's a masterpiece that doesn't hold up for today. But
No,
it got everything going.
but I say it, but it is the tipping point where people started taking comic book movies seriously.
Like you could make one that was awesome, you know. Uh, so we also glazed over the part where um, one of the things that actually makes this movie about Batman versus the villains, you know, because arguably, I mean, you could say that uh, Batman Returns was a hell of a lot more about Catwoman and the Penguin, and definitely the first one was more about the Joker um, and the Bruce Wayne that the public eye doesn't see
Right.
than it was about the Bat. But there's a scene where after uh, Robin's parents die. He's talking to Alfred, Bruce Wayne is, and he says, "It's happening again." You know, the monster comes out of nowhere, happens real fast, and he says, "I killed them."
Yeah.
And Alfred says, "What's that?" He says, "Two Face, you killed that boy's parents." He goes, "No, you said I killed them."
Yeah.
You know, so that's a deep, deep, deep cut.
Well, I say yeah, that gets deep, and it since you do focus more, we do focus a little more on Bruce Wayne. You do get to focus on the psyche of
Yeah.
what makes Bruce Wayne tick slash Batman tick. So and like you said, that's a good call where it's like I killed him. He's like, oh, what's that? He's like, oh no, Two Face. He's like, no, you know,
You said I.
yeah, that Bruce Wayne's conscience there is like, no, we're not going down this path.
At the end of the movie, he makes that statement. He's like, "I'm, you see, Edward, I'm both Bruce Wayne and Batman, not because I have to be, but because I want to be."
Right. So yeah, so let's get to the final battle scene. So Edward Enigma slash Riddler, he's got his Enigma machines in essentially every home in Gotham. He's and he's got them all linked up to this gigantic tower. I forget the name of it, but or the island, and he's sucking all the information from everybody in Gotham, and he's just kind of sitting on this throne, just completely getting, just getting OP overpowered there with the brain waves.
Yeah, and I lost my train of thought. You go ahead.
Say so, eventually, obviously, Batman and Robin infiltrate the island. I forget it's so. Oh, that's right. So there's the battle scene with Two Face in it's almost like a silo or something in on the island, and then obviously Batman and Two Face are fighting, and then Two Face has to do a flip of the coin because I forget exactly, did he have Batman at a disadvantage, or I forget why he flipped the coin there. But for some odd reason, in the battle there, Two Face decides to flip the coin. Batman reaches into his pouch, throws the handful of coins, distracting Two Face. Two Face,
classic. That's a move from the comics, and also a move that the animated series took.
Yeah, so Two-Face loses his composure, ends up falling essentially to his death, right? We're all assuming he's dead.
Yeah.
Um and then it comes down to him and the Riddler, and I forget exactly. That's the unfortunate thing, because I didn't do my homework. I forget how the final battle goes with him. I know how he
Oh,
dies,
really?
but I
How
forget.
would you?
But
Would
I
you like me to
forget.
tell you?
I would. That's why you're here.
All you need is a batarang. He said he puts on those sonar glasses. He's like, I can see without seeing. What am I? You're as blind as a bat. And then he throws a batarang at the gigantic Megatron thing full of diamonds that's sucking people's brainwaves, breaks the glass in one thing. It all falls apart. Edward Nigma ODs on brainwaves, and he saves Chase Meridian and he saves Robin.
That's right.
And it's pretty fucking cool how he saves him, because both of them go falling, after he breaks the diamond. And he just jumps down there. He's like, with his grapple guns and stuff. And it's really wicked. And now I'm starting to sound like a kid. And it's really wicked. And then and then they flash to the next scene where he's in the asylum screaming, I know who Batman is. And
right.
that's when Odo from Deep Space Nine, calls them in.
That's right.
And he's like, I'm Batman, in his straight jacket.
All right, Adam, let's do it. How many batarangs are we giving Batman Forever?
Out of what, 5?
We're gonna go out of 5.
3, 2.5.
I say I'm gonna go 3. I'm gonna go 3 batarangs.
2.5.
2.5 batarangs. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I'm going 3 because of Val Kilmer. I'm going 3 because of the writing and how Val Kilmer played it straight.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. This history has not been kind to the movie, but it's really got its moments. I think Val Kilmer is completely underrated as Bruce Wayne. But also when you're kind of known as a jackass in Hollywood, you don't get to primo roles, and he got beat up by George Clooney in the next movie.
Yeah, but you got to think about this like this too. Like the next, he didn't get beat out. They just were not working with him again. But,
right. Well, that's the thing, that when you're such an ass and they go, nope.
Yeah. The next movie though is so bad.
Right.
It's so bad. I mean, like the ice is foam bubbling around. I mean, it's a train wreck.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some of the numbers here. So,
they all did well, but yeah, let's do this.
All right. So, budget estimated to be about $100 million. Opening weekend did $52 million. I don't know what that is. I don't think that was a record of any sort. I think that was just a solid opening weekend. Total gross in the U.S. was $184 million, and worldwide did another $336 million. So, yeah, just over, so almost $600 million over. So that was obviously before the Spider-Man movies hit the $1 billion mark. So,
well, the next movie would murder the comic book movie stuff for a while.
Yeah,
to X-Men.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, and that's I think you're right. Where the Batman and Robin stuff, just because it gets known as the Schumacher movies, right? And those are the ones that, as you just said, kind of man, they really stalled the whole train for everybody for a while.
But it's good that they happened, because at least you know how not to do it.
Well, we'd hope so.
Yeah, but and Joel Schumacher gets a lot of shit, but he was just doing what he was hired to do.
Well, I mean, when you get Joel Schumacher, you know what you're getting in Joel Schumacher. It's he's not your typical director. He definitely has his style. Like, let's see, because I know everybody knows Lost Boys, but what else? Because everybody thinks like, oh, like he wasn't a very good director. Like, no, he was a great director.
Yeah, he was.
He directed Phantom of the Opera in 2004. He directed 8 Millimeter. he directed Falling Down, which is one of the best.
Wow.
One of those like talk about a nice twisted movie for you, but he directed his director credits St. Elmo's Fire, some of the In Excess, I know you're an In Excess guy, Flatliners, Falling Down, The Client, Batman Forever, A Time to Kill, great movie. Tigerland's a good movie. That's an underrated movie. That's Colin. Is that Colin Farrell? Yeah, Colin Farrell. That's a good movie. Yeah, I mean it's not like Phone Booth, Bad Company. I mean, he's got an excellent record of really good
Yeah.
movies. It's not like this stopped his career in its tracks. So
No, he was a hell of a director, and basically Warner Brothers Studios were like, "We gotta tell toys," which leads me to believe I understand McFarlane DC Multiverse, so that's like I'm not talking about that. Like, how are there like toys out for this new movie when kids can't even go see it?
But
That's
also
all.
Joel Schumacher passed in 2020. So
Yes, he did. And he passed with this, like, admitting he had sex with like thousands of men.
good for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
Anyway,
I don't know why he felt the need to tell that.
yeah, consenting adults, good for you, buddy. But so we are counting down. Like I said, we are counting down to the Batman. I know we mentioned the last one. We are slowly starting to get trickles of
Reviews.
reviews are coming in, and so far pretty solid. But ultimately, because I was hearing some people are like, "Oh, this people are saying this people are saying this." At the end of the day, you are your own best judge. So please go out and see the movie for yourself. Obviously, we're actually going to go watch it at least twice, and then we are going to come back on Friday evening, probably late Friday evening, and we're going to stream, and it will be spoilers galore. So just to let people know. So we'll go the first part, general review stuff, but then we'll get into spoilers. So
We'll give you an initial reaction when we see it the first time.
right.
But after the second viewing,
That's right.
no holds barred. No holds barred, brother.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure why that just happened, but I'm okay with it. I'll allow
Yeah,
it.
me too. Hulk Hogan. He gets money every time they use that name.
Oh,
Or Marvel uses that name.
interesting. Did not know that.
Mhm.
So, but all right, Adam, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. So like I said, so late Friday evening we will be streaming, and please come join us, especially if you have gone and seen it, and give us some of your reviews and some of your takes on it. So I'm excited. I'm trying to be like an ostrich and sticking my head in the dirt because I want to know as little as possible. I like to be surprised. So
I know some basics. That's it.
just tell me runtime, and that's about it. That's what I need to know.
3 hours. Bro.
3 hours, people. So, but other than that, Adam, I think it's time to dance.
All right, Planet Houston, let's do the Bat 2C.
Well, let's not dance yet. I want to say thank you to everybody who has liked and subscribed to our show, and on Instagram, on YouTube. Thank you for all the support. You guys have been amazing, and just thank you for. I mean, that's the reason we do this, is because we like to entertain you guys and just give you our takes. And some of you guys like it, some guys don't, some guys disagree, and that's okay.
That's okay. That's totally
No problem.
okay.
Because sometimes,
Does anybody?
believe it or not, sometimes Adam and I don't even agree. So
Yeah, that's okay. I tell you what, in the comment section below, tell us which Batman movie is your favorite, and tell us which Batman movie is not your favorite,
Or if you think
Or
something is
your least favorite.
underrated. Because like I've always said, Val Kilmer was an underrated Batman. Who's your favorite Batman, and who do you think is an underrated Batman? Might be the same person, might not. But let us know.
Yes, let us know.
I say hit us up. We are on social media. So
We are
we are on the
the
Facebooks,
Escape Podcast,
the Instagrams.
Facebooks.
On Facebook, we are on the Escape Podcast. On Instagram, we are at _Escape_podcast.
And don't forget the YouTubes.
And the YouTubes and the merch. The merch is coming, guys. So we will let you know. If you guys want to help support the show by wearing a t-shirt, let us know what size you want, and we will get you one. So, but now it's time to dance.
That Tuesday.
Good night, America.